Hello students, welcome to our inorganic lectures. So now we are looking for the atomic structures. So in this there is the most important point, that is the Bohr's theory, that we are going to see in this lecture. So first we will see the review of Bohr's theory. Niels Bohr in 1930 put forward a theory to improve upon Rutherford's model of atomic structure. So what is the Rutherford's atomic model of atomic structure? Rutherford put forward that there is a nucleus in an atom and the negatively charged particles move or surround that positively charged nucleus. But the Rutherford was unable to explain the emission of electromagnetic radiation and therefore was not able to account for the existence of spectral lines. So, to improve the Rutherford, the Niels Bohr put forward his theory. What does the Rutherford introduce? Rutherford introduced the nuclear model of atom, in which nucleus is a positively charged and surrounded by the negatively charged electrons. This was told by the Rutherford. So according to the Bohr, these electrons move in the fixed orbitals. That orbitals are known as a shell. Okay, these orbitals are known as a shell, and this shell has a fixed energy level. So basically you have to remember that Bohr tells us that the electrons move in a specific fixed orbitals called as a shell, and each of the shell has a fixed energy level. So basically, Rutherford explained the nucleus and Bohr modified that model into electrons and their energy level. So Bohr found that an electron located away from the nucleus has more energy and electron close to the nucleus have less energy. This is the second important point, that electrons located away from the nucleus has more energy. They are more energetic. Whereas electron closer to the nucleus have less energy. Okay, remember this point. The next we will see the postulates of Bohr's theory of an atom. So there are 5 postulates that we will see. First is in the atom, electrons, that is negatively charged particles, revolve around the positively charged nucleus in a definite circular path called as an orbit or shell. This we have seen in the review. Each orbit or shell has a fixed energy, and these circular orbits are known as orbital shells. Next is the energy level are it is represented by an integer n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on, which are known as quantum numbers. These range of quantum numbers starts from nucleus side with n is equal to 1 having the lowest energy level. The orbit n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 are also assigned as a k, l, m, n and so on shells. And when an electron attains the lowest energy level, it is said to be in the ground state. Okay. So the third point is important, that energy levels are denoted by 1, 2, 3, where 1 start from the nucleus side. And these 1, 2, 3 are assigned by K, L, M, N shells. This we have seen in this. So 1 K, 2 is equal to L, 3 is equal to m, and 4 is equal to n, and so on. So when the electrons attain the lowest energy level, it is said to be in the ground state. Okay. The electron in an atom move from a lower energy level to a higher energy level by gaining a required energy, and an electron moves from a higher energy level to lower energy level by losing the energy. That means that electron can move from one shell to another shell by gaining or losing the energy. Is it clear? By gaining the energy, it moves from the ground state to upper higher states, and from higher to lower by losing the energy. Only certain stationary states are allowed for which the angular momentum is quantized. That means there is a fixed angular momentum which is equal to mvr is equal to nh upon 2 pi. N is the number of energy level, h is a Planck's constant, and 2 into pi. We know pi is equal to 3.14. Is it clear? Here the last point is the most important point. I will mark here. This is the most important point, that the angular momentum is quantized, and which is equal to m v r is equal to n h upon 2 pi. So students, remember that this is the most important equation given by the Bohr. So all the further derivation depends on this equation, okay? So the next we will going to see radius of Bohr's atom. So there is point, the balance between the centrifugal force and the attractive force between the electron and the positively charged nucleus keeps the electron revolving in the orbit. So if the speed of electron gets higher, what should happen? That electron should go away from that nucleus. But why it does not go away from the nucleus? Because there is also the attractive force between the nucleus, positively charged nucleus, and negatively charged electron. So both these force, that is a centrifugal force and attractive force, get balanced by each other, and therefore the electrons revolve in a specific order. Okay. If there is a z protons in the nucleus, and if r is the radius of the orbit, then electrostatic force of attraction is given by z is square upon r square. Okay. The force of attraction is given by z e square upon r square. It depends on the number of protons. We know that protons are the positively charged. That means more will be the z, more will be the attraction. And the centrifugal force is given by mv square upon r, where m is the mass, v is the velocity of electron in the orbit, and r is the radius. So now at this point the centrifugal force balances the electrostatic force. That means centrifugal force is equal to electrostatic force. We know that centrifugal force is equal to z square upon r square, which is equal to mv square upon r. So here what will happen? This r gets cancelled with this r, one of the r. Okay. So therefore v square we will keep here, transferring this m to that side. What remains? Z square upon m into r. So according to the Bohr's assumption, we know that angular momentum is quantized. That means mvr is equal to nh upon 2 pi. So from finding here v, what we get? nh upon 2 pi m into r. So here we know that v square is equal to z square upon mr. So now take squaring on both the sides. V square is equal to n square h square upon 4 pi square m square into r square. So now equating them both, that is z square upon mr into n square h square upon 4 pi square m square r square. So what happens? This m cancel with the one of the m, r cancel with the one of the r. So here only one term r is remain, and that we have to find, that is a radius. So now shifting this r from denominator. When it moves here, it goes into the numerator. So r is equal to n square h square upon 4 pi square m as it is, and this z into e square. Okay. So now putting the value of n, we get the radius of first 4 Bohr orbits. That is, for n is equal to 1, r is 0.529 angstrom. For n is equal to 2, r is equal to 2.12 angstrom, and so on. The next we will study the velocity of that electron. So we know that v is equal to v square is equal to, according to this, v square is equal to n square h square upon 4 pi square m square upon m square into r square. So now, and we also know that r is equal to n square h square into upon 4 pi square m into z into e square. So now putting the value of r in the v square equation. So here there is a r square, and here as that r is in the denominator, it gets revert. Okay, so now we will see what get cancelled. So this n square get cancelled with this n square. This h square gets cancelled with another this h square. 4 pi square gets cancelled with 4 pi square. And this m into m becomes m square. Okay. Therefore that m also gets cancelled. So what remains? Z. This z into e square into e square upon n square h square. Okay. So now here there is a small mistake. Z square is equal to e raised to 4 here is it. So remember here is a e raised to 4. Okay. This is not in the multiplication. So z square into e raised to 4 into 4 pi square upon n square into h square. So here there is a v square. Now taking the square root, what we get, v is equal to 2 pi z e square upon n h. Is it clear? So if there is some confusion, what you have to do, you have to take the notebook, pen, write this all equation and try to solve it by your own. So when there will be a difficulty, you will come to know so how it comes, what was the small thing in that, you will remember. So please students, write down this all in your notebook. That means you will get it by heart. Okay. The next is energy of electron. The total energy of electron is the sum of its kinetic energy and the potential energy. The potential energy is the work done on the electron in bringing it from the infinity to a distance r from the nucleus, and which is equal to minus z square upon r. So total energy is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. So kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. This potential energy is equal to minus z square upon r. So in the previous slide, that means when we calculate the radius, we have taken that centrifugal force is equal to electrostatic force. That is z square upon r square, which is equal to mv square upon r. So z square, this r gets cancelled with another r. What remains? Z square upon r into mv square. So now what we will do? Taking the multiplying by 1/2. So here I will multiply by 1/2. Okay, and here also I will multiply by 1/2. So what will we get? Z square upon 2r, which is equal to half mv square. We know that half mv square is the kinetic energy. So distributing this value into the equation first. So what we will get? Total energy is equal to z square upon 2r minus z square upon r. Now taking z square upon r common, what remains? Half into minus 1. So half into minus 1 is minus half. That means minus z square upon 2r. We know that R is equal to n square h square upon 4 pi square mz e square. So distributing that value, total energy is equal to minus 2 pi square m into z square into e raised to 4 upon n square into h square. So student, these are the small derivations. You have to learn it. So write each and every derivation. These are small for the radius of electron, for the velocity of electron, for the energy of electron in your notebook. Okay, and try to solve the numericals based on this. Okay. The next we will see the limitations of Bohr theory. In Bohr's model, the quantum idea of stationary orbit is mixed with the classical idea of Coulomb force. So that means here there is a mixture of both the quantum theory and the classical theory. Is it okay? The next is the assumption of only circular orbit is totally unjustified. The next is it can only explain the spectral line of hydrogen and hydrogen-like atom and not the other atoms except hydrogen. It cannot explain the fine structure of hydrogen atom, that is, it fails to explain the Zeeman effects, that is splitting of spectral line under the influence of magnetic field. So this was not explained by the Bohr's. It cannot make any calculation about the transition or selection rule which applies to them. Okay. So these are the 5 limitations of Bohr's theory. Thank you.